Hey guys, Mado here. Welcome back to another video. Today's video, I'm going to show you how you can create a time slice in Adobe Premiere Pro. And if you're wondering what that is, take a look at this. Hey, how's it going guys? Welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a little bit special. It's a second part to my first video on YouTube. My first video was to how to create a time slice in Photoshop. This one is going to be how to create a time slice in Adobe Premiere. Difference is one is a video, the other one is a still image. All right, it's a very simple technique and it's very fun to create, so let's get right into it. So in order for you to create a time slice as a video form, we need to work with an actual time lapse. So you need to have a time lapse that you've already shot and edited and exported that's ready to be used. Now the time lapse that you want to use for something like this has to be a time lapse that includes all of the changing parts of the sky that happens during the day. So you want a time lapse that has daytime, sunset, blue hour, and nighttime. So first thing you want to do once you import into Adobe Premiere is just take a look at the footage, run it a few times, and then trim the excess fat. You want it to be a nice, equally amount of time that's spent in each phase in the sky. When you play it a few times, if you notice there's more daytime than you do have with sunset, so you want to trim the video a little bit from the start. And then same thing, if you notice that there's a lot of nighttime in comparison to the rest of the clip, again, you want to trim that from the end. Now the next thing that you want to do at this point is stabilize it. So we've removed the excess fat, we've gotten rid of the things that we don't want. Now we want to stabilize the footage. When we slice, you're going to have horizontal lines, like harsh horizontal lines. So if you slice a building from the middle and then you see it when it's being played and you see the buildings jumping, you don't want that. It doesn't look clean. So we want to stabilize the entire footage, and we do that by adding a warp stabilizer from our effects panel. So just go to your effects panel, type in warp stabilizer, then drag that effect onto your timeline. It may take some time depending on how long your time lapse is, so be patient a little bit with it and give it enough time to analyze the full footage. Once your video is stabilized, now it's actually just a simple part. We're gonna start duplicating the same clip and then we're gonna start slicing. But when we come to slice and when we come to actually timing when are we gonna include the next layer, we want to make math a little bit simple for ourselves. So what I would recommend doing is you want to shrink, or not shrink, you want to change the duration of the time of the entire lapse. So an easy number to work with is make the entire clip 10 seconds. I chose 10 seconds as the first time I ever tried this because 10 is an easy number for us to divide and add specific keyframes or what have you. So the next step after that is determining how many slices we have, but be very careful. We all want to have a lot of slices. We all want to have as many slices as possible to make the footage look nice and well, sophisticated, I would say, but that also runs you into adding so many layers and it will take much more time to render those files. Think of a nice number between 10 to 20. I wouldn't go over 20 if this is your first time, and also if you don't have a computer that really can render like such powerful footage. I would start with 10 slices or 10 to 20. I'll let you guys decide. For my video, I shot this at a wide angle and I want to show so many different layers and I want to show all the colors that are happening in the sky during a specific time. I chose 20 slices, and it's going to be easy for me to divide it because I'm going to take 20 or 10 divided by 20, that's 0.5. That means every half of a second I'm going to include another layer, and that's when the slicing will start. So I have my 10-second clip and then I want 20 slices, so I'm going to duplicate my layer and I'm going to add the same layer on top of it, but I'll make it start half a second later or half a second after the first clip started. And then I'm going to duplicate that layer, again make it start another half a second after the second layer, and then so forth. So I'm introducing a new time lapse every half a second, and that's the first step. So introduce your number of layers every increment, and it has to be an equal amount of time between every layer. So you can't choose half a second here and then one half here and then 2 seconds there. It has to be equal amount of layers or equal amount of time between them to make the time lapse very smooth. Now once you've added all your layers. In my example, I have 20 layers. The next thing we want to do is slice it. So if you've watched my video on creating a time slice in Photoshop, I do that by adding a grid line, and then I start masking the parts that I want to hide to reveal whatever layers below it. We can't slice here the same way. We can't just mask it off, and we can't have grid lines. But what we can do is we can crop each layer from one hand side as an equal amount of space. I'm gonna go to my effects panel, I'll search for the crop tool, and I'll slide that effect or grab that effect and then add it to my timeline. And then I'm gonna crop with an equal amount of increment. I'm gonna leave the very first layer at zero crop. I don't wanna crop it at all. And then the second layer, I'm just gonna crop it from the left by 5%. The third layer, I'll crop it by 10%. Fourth layer is by 15, and then so forth until I reach 95. We don't wanna crop anything more than 95, because if you crop it at 100, you're just not showing the layer at this point. So just crop from 5, or in my example, I'm cropping from 5 all the way to 95. And once you've done the cropping, you're gonna notice that you've already have the footage looks like it's being sliced, but we're not done yet. So we have a pyramid introduction from the left-hand side, and then you reach a point where when the very first layer ends, that will create a black part. There's nothing there because the first layer just ended. We want to have that layer continue off, but the layer or the time lapse starts from daytime to nighttime. We don't want to just duplicate it and add another one from daytime to nighttime. We want to go from daytime to nighttime to daytime to nighttime to daytime. So you want to have daytime, nighttime, nighttime to daytime, daytime to nighttime, nighttime to daytime. So it's smooth that way. So how we do that is we select all 20 layers, and I'm gonna reverse that, copy it, and then move it. But when I move it, when I attach it to the end of it, I wanna make sure I don't reverse that. So that way it will start from nighttime, goes all the way to daytime, and then it will start from daytime again, goes to nighttime, because it's reversed. And we're just gonna do that 2 more times. So I'm gonna duplicate it 1 more time, and then the third set is gonna be reversed, and then duplicate it, and then the 4th set is gonna be regular. It's not gonna be non-reversed. So reversed, non-reversed, reversed, non-reversed. That way, like I mentioned, we're gonna have from daytime to nighttime, and then nighttime to daytime, and then daytime to nighttime. So that's essentially how the smooth transition between each part of the sky is gonna go. Now, once we're done that, all you have to do at this point is trim the sides. You notice on the left-hand side, it's an introduction to each part of the slice, and on the right-hand side, it's an outro to each slice. We don't want that. We want it to be continuously slicing. So all we're gonna do is just get rid of those pyramid steps. So click C to get your cut tool, and then press Shift, and then cut the entire left-hand side of all these steps. Same thing with the right-hand side. And at that point, you just have one big chunk of boxes and filled with a lot of layers. All you gotta do is just nest it. Once it's nested, just change that duration to whatever number that you like. I personally like my entire slice to be over and done with in 10 seconds. And then that's it. That's honestly everything that's involved into creating a time slice. You can render it, play it a couple of times, and then you can add some music if you'd like. But that's really it. It's very simple. It's a very quick tutorial. I figured it'd be a nice quick tutorial for me to create for you guys to take a look at. And apart from that, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I would love to see if you create this effect. So if you do create a time slice like this, just tag me on Instagram. I'll include my Instagram handle in the description down below. I'd love to see your work. If I went a little bit too fast, if you have any questions, if there's something that you don't really understand, just let me know. Just ask away in the comments, or if you have any feedback, if there's something that you think would have been faster if I did it in a different way, just let me know. I'd love to know your feedback. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you want to see more content like this. Apart from that, I think that's it. I hope everyone's doing well. Look after one another, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.